Hey guys, it's Sharon here, and I am here to do a setup for my personal Filofax. This is the blue, and it's color blue, and it's called the Keswick, which I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But this is the personal size, and this is going to be my current planner setup. So for the first half of the year, I was using a sugar paper planner, but I found that I really missed my Filofax, and I found that the sugar paper planner just wasn't really working for me. I missed my rings to be able to take pages in and out and to be able to just customize it the way I wanted to and to just pretty much do what I wanted in it. So I decided to move back into my Filofax. And so I was using my Aqua Malden for a while for that, as well as a little writer's notebook and that. But if you looked at my recent video that I put up for a Goulet Pens haul, you'll know that I got a couple of new Filofaxes, and it came with the 2017 inserts, and but for a couple of bucks more, I went ahead and got the 2016 ones because I didn't have anything, and I didn't feel like printing anything out, or trying to make any of my own or whatever. Sometimes I get a little lazy to do that, so it's kind of just as easy to find something, and for a couple of bucks more, I just got the 2016 ones to finish out the year, and I moved back into my Filofax. So right now, and I have a few that I can switch on and off with because it's kind of nice to be able to switch it out because it gets boring to use the same one time after time after time again. So right now I picked this Keswick, and I actually found this on eBay a couple years ago, and it was a great find. The price was right. It came pre-used, and it had a little bit of wear, which I will show you on the inside, but as you can tell, I mean, the leather on this is in great shape, so it really wasn't in bad shape at all. So I really, I picked that up right away. Now, when you open the planner, as I said, on the front, if you look here on the front, if I can get it to focus, on the front, you'll see that some of the letters have worn away where it says Keswick. It wore away. I think what happened maybe was that the person who had it before maybe tried to clean it, and whatever they used rubbed off some of the letters, and then they just quit because of what it was doing to it. But that's really about the only sign of I don't want to call it a defect, but it's really about the only sign of the wear that you can see in it. Now, in these pockets, there's a front pocket here, and then there's also these business card pockets, credit card pockets, if you will. I don't have anything in this front pocket because these pockets here are pretty loaded, and I don't want to cram whatever in there and stretch it out. So what I have in here is I have some business cards of mine. And then I've also got my Barnes & Noble membership card. And then, believe it or not, there is a prepaid phone card from AT&T that I got a long time ago. Now, this was long before everybody was carrying around cell phones, and I was actually going to be out of town for a while. So we got a prepaid phone card for me so I could call home. But and I think I still got some minutes on it, and I think I used it a few years ago to call a friend of mine in Australia, so I keep that in there. And actually, my husband and I were actually laughing at it the other night because I still have this thing. But yeah, I do have some minutes on there, so who knows when I might need that. Now here is an insert where you can put other cards in. I had a few other things in here, but I took it out because it had some personal information on there that I don't want to show you guys. So right now that's empty. And then I have this is the top loading pocket, as you can see, which I don't have anything in it right now. This would be like for maybe money or some receipts or something to temporarily put in there until I could figure out what else to do with them once I got home and all that. Now, I don't have any sticky notes or anything in here right now, and before I actually get a little further into this, I want to tell you guys that I'm not one of those like big-time decorators. I go more for the functionality, more for the productivity than doing, I guess, pretty planning is what it's called. Now, I will do a little bit, like, I like my pages to have a little bit of color, and sometimes I get a little stamp happy and I'll put stickers and stuff on it. But I don't use planner charms. I find that they just get in the way. I mean, there's some very, very adorable ones out there, but, it's just not my thing. I don't like stuff hanging off my rings and having the potential to get caught on something, so I don't really do the whole planner charm thing. And I don't do the whole, let's decorate these pockets. I use these for function. Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of boring that way, but that's just how I've always done my planners. So that is that top loading pocket. Here's a fly leaf. Now I have this journaling card that I have this stamp on, and it says, let's see, it says, Lord, give me coffee Lord, give me coffee to change the things I can change, and wine to accept the things I can't. I saw that stamp last winter and had to pick that up. So I took a journaling card and I just stamped it on there because that always makes me smile. You know, that saying just always makes me smile. So, and then it's just got some little chevrons or whatever on the back there. Now I made my own dividers with scrapbook paper, and I cut them down to size, and I laminated them and hole punched them. So, and the tabs here I made with my brother label maker, and as you can tell, they're a little bit bigger. They stick out a little bit more. I like to have very, very readable tabs because being visually impaired, I need my letters to be just a little bit bigger. So that is why I have the large letters that I made using my label maker, and that's why the tabs are bigger and they stick out a little bit more. It just helps me out quite a bit. So as I said, I made these dividers. This is my calendar section. And now the paper that I used actually wasn't double-sided, so I took 2 pieces of paper and stuck them together and laminated them. And I'm not the best at making these dividers, but I do what I can, and it saves me money, and so I don't have to, you know, buy others. And the Filofax ones are just so boring. So yeah, I tend to just make my own, even though I'm not the best at it, but you know, hey, it is what it is. So anyway, there's I have chevron themes, I guess, on these dividers, so that's some chevrons right there. Now, when I got my new Filofaxes, as I said, I just put in the 2016 inserts. I just have, I didn't use the first half of the year, and then I just kept the current ones until the end of the year. So, because I had just recently moved back into my Filofax, you know, a couple of months ago, but I was using my sugar paper planner quite a bit, and so I didn't really have much on the other inserts and stuff, so I took out what I didn't need and just started with this current week. So here is this week's layout that I just did. As you can tell, again, I'm not the best decorator or anything, but, you know, I have fun with it. I just put some washi tape on it. I got a little music note sticker right there just for a little more decoration. But, you know, I mean, I have fun with it. I put some stamps on here. I put washi tape. I'll do some stickers, you know. Now, let me just kind of show you what I did here. Again, there's washi tape on the bottom. Up here is I added a few notes because we have to take the dogs into the vet today. We had one of our dogs that just had surgery, so she's got to get her stitches out. She had a couple of cancerous tumors that we had to have removed, and then Caleb, my golden retriever, needs his booster for his influenza vaccine, so we're taking both of them in to take care of all that. So that's what's going on today. So I made the notes on that, and then today I put in the vet appointment, and then here I stamped in a little camera, and it says watched, and I watched my Big Brother episode this morning, so I watched Big Brother. And then, like, tomorrow I'm going to upload one of the videos on my Sims channel, the Quest for Supremacy Challenge Part 25. So I wanted to make a note of that to remind myself to go ahead and upload that tomorrow. And then on Thursday, on the 1st, now I've been using these Martha Stewart Dewdrops to put on the 1st of the month to remind me that our dogs need their heartworm meds and their flea preventative and stuff. So sometimes I've been like forgetting until like the next day or something, and we want to try to keep it on the 1st of the month. So I thought if I put those dots on there, they will kind of help out a little bit to help me remember and stuff. And so far so good. It's been helping. And now again, this day here I didn't have anything to do, so I did like a coffee themed layout this week. So it says love you and coffee. The stamp, sometimes my stamping, like I either don't get it quite inked up or I don't press down equally on both sides. So yeah, the coffee part is a little faded. So yeah. Anyway, And then over here it says, low battery, need caffeine. So I didn't really have anything going there. So, and then I just put this piece of washi tape here because I wrote an appointment on the opposite page and it bled through a little bit with one of the other pens that I was using. And then we don't have anything going on over the weekend, so I put Enjoy. That's another stamp that I have that I just went ahead and split up between Saturday and Sunday. Now, what I try to do is I try to use my fountain pens in this, but these Filofax inserts are very thin, and even some of the Staedtler pens, the Le Pens, the Stabilo, sometimes they will bleed through on this stuff. So what I find is, now I've been using my vintage Sailor with an extra fine nib on that, and let me go get that and I'll show that to you. So I have this vintage Sailor. This is a pink vintage Sailor that I got at our pen club when we went this past Sunday, I believe it was. And it's just a little they call it a little tuck-away pen. It's just a little cartridge pen. And you can post it like that, but it's very cute. The cap is real long and it just slides in like that, and you can tuck it away or clip it to whatever. But this has got an extra fine nib. It's a Japanese pen, so a lot of times with the Japanese nibs, they will write a little bit finer than your European ones usually. If we're talking like fine or medium or whatever. So, but I find that if I use this pen, I can do very well on these Filofax inserts, because this is what I use to label all of the appointments and stuff. And as you can tell, it really didn't bleed through. You get some ghosting, but it really didn't bleed through. So I find that this really, really, really works out very well, and I get the benefit of being able to use one of my fountain pens. So you can... Now, the Goulet Pen Company, when they started carrying the Filofaxes, they did a whole in-depth overview of what they have in their store. And they also took some of the inserts and tested some of their pens that they carry. And as you could tell, like, a lot of it bled through. So they told you pretty much what I'm telling you now. If you're going to use a fountain pen and stuff like this, pick an extra fine nib. And you may have to experiment also with the ink. But I found that this pen with the Sailor ink cartridges, the Gentle Blue, works out very well for these inserts. Okay, I ramble on. So anyway, I just have the whole, these are the cotton cream inserts, I think. Yeah. And this paper is actually a little bit heavier than the white, I think. Yeah, so that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so our next section is going to be lists. This is my list section. And again, I made the dividers. And in here, I just have all kinds of different lists. Like, I have my bucket list. I have, like, I was going through some of my planners and stuff and making notes on it. Like, favorite old-time radio shows. Like, I like Suspense, Jack Benny, Dragnet, you know. Just stuff that I want to read. Music, you know, stuff I want to read. Books, you know, another series and stuff. So, and I think I want to start participating in the 31 days of lists, which I think will be a lot of fun to keep in here and to do. Now, I put in some Tomoe River paper, so again, that I could use my fountain pens, because this Filofax paper, this will bleed through with most of your fountain pens. So if you use this colored paper, again with the Filofax inserts, try an extra fine nib. But as I said, I put in some Tomoe River paper so that I could use my other pens and other inks and stuff in here. The only thing with this Tomoe River paper is, if you're going to write something in there, make sure it's dry before you close your planner, because you will have a smeared mess otherwise. And I'll show you an example of that that happened to me, was it last night? I think it was. So I have my Tomoe River paper in there. And I also made myself a little pencil guide, or a little guide, writer's guide sheet, which I'll show you in just a minute. So that is my list section. Next is my bullet journal section. Now, I have not really been a bullet journaler, but I decided that I'm going to try it because, as I said, you know, when I was in my other planner and that, I kind of felt like I was dropping the ball on some things, and there were days where I said I was going to get this and this and this and this done, and it just never happened. And sometimes I get into these, like, where I just want to be kind of lazy, or if I didn't get it done, I'd get really discouraged. And so I kind of had it all in my head, but I want to try the bullet journaling system, because I figure if I have it written down, you know, things that I want to try to get done, I would hold myself more accountable, and I'd have a better chance of actually getting it done. Now, I probably put like too much to get done in a day, so then I can look at it and just migrate it over, which is okay. So anyway, again, we have the chevron theme on the back. I made these dividers. So what I did here, and this is on the Tomoe River paper, I divided this sheet up into the 4 months remaining in 2016, September, October, November, and December. And I probably should have just kept maybe one page for each month, because like I had started running out of room here. So yeah, but that's okay, because I think I wrote down everything monthly wise for September right now. So now this is the week part of it. This is for the week of this week. And this is the, you know, things that I want to get done. What I did was I put the circles for tasks. I'm doing the dashes for notes. And then I think I'm doing boxes or something for appointments, or circle, like not shaded in circles, but just regular circles for appointments and stuff. And then it makes it easy to just make the symbol into an X when it gets all done. Again, I think I'm pretty optimistic about all the different things that I put on for the week, but I can always migrate it over. Like I can use an arrow to migrate it over to the next week, or I'll do a left arrow and migrate it to another week, which is okay, you know. But at least I have things written down, and at least I know I can look at this. I can glance at this and say, okay, I didn't do this. You know, maybe I'll plan it for this other day and try that. So that's the weekly one. And then this one is the daily one for today. Now, as I said, as I mentioned, if you're writing on this Tomoe River paper and using a fountain pen, it does not dry very quickly. Depending on what ink you use, it will not dry very quickly. And what happened was I was writing some stuff down, and I made the mistake of closing up my planner. And as you can tell, I have a smeared mess here, and I have a little bit of a smeared mess there. So make sure if you're using this Tomoe River paper that you put a blotting sheet in there, or make sure it's dry before you actually close it up. So, and again, this is stuff that I wanted to try to get done for today, but again, I think I'm kind of optimistic. So a lot of the stuff, I think it's going to be migrated over into another day or whatever, but at least I'm writing, as I said, at least I'm writing the stuff down, and I can kind of hold myself accountable and just kind of see where I'm at, and just kind of see where my head's at, and just, you know, make the adjustments that I need to make. And then I feel that I'm a little bit more productive that way. But I wanted to start a bullet journal in here rather than one of my other journals. Now, a lot of people, when they do their bullet journal, they will use a separate actual journal for that, or notebook. But as I said, I really was not a bullet journaler, and I didn't want to start one of my journals for a bullet journal and then just not stick with it, and then have, say, half a notebook of what am I going to do with this notebook now, because I have this in it. And I'm kind of one of those people that if I'm going to start a notebook, I want to use that notebook for the purpose that it was intended for. So if I would have started it in a regular notebook and then just left off on it, I would have kicked myself, because then I would have been going, okay, what do I do with the rest of this paper? So I figure if I started in my Filofax, and if I don't end up keeping up with it, you know, then the only thing I'm losing out on is the paper that I wrote the stuff on. So it's not like I'm soiling a notebook of something. Well, I don't want to say soiling, but it's not like I'm starting a notebook of something and then not following through with it. So yeah, and if I find that I really, really like it, if I stick with it, then maybe I will move this out of the Filofax and then put it in a regular notebook, although I may like it in here too. I just don't know. So anyway, I have plenty of paper for those purposes in here. Now, this here is my, this here is the writing guide that I made for myself. I just took some Clairefontaine paper and cut it down to size. I kind of messed it up just a little tiny bit right there. I wanted the whole thing to go up kind of to that page. And, excuse me, when I cut out the notch, I cut out a little bit too far. So I might I might end up making myself another one, maybe some darker lines. That way it will come through the paper a little bit better and I can see it just a little bit better. So, but for now, this one does okay. And it's removable. I can just pop it out of these rings and then just put it back in where I need it to be. But this really helps with this Tomoe River paper because this paper is so thin that it can make impressions on your other page if you don't have a firm surface to write on with that. So that is my writing guide. My next one is for fountain pens, and yep, it gets its own section. My fountain pens gets its own section because that is a total hobby of mine and so forth. And now this divider I messed up a little bit because I didn't quite get the laminating sheet centered in the laminator, so it kind of crinkled up a little bit. So this divider wasn't really one of my best ones, but I didn't feel like making another one, so for now it's just going to do the trick. Excuse me, got a dry throat today. But I should have had some water while I was talking. But what I did, now this whole section, as I said, is just going to deal with strictly fountain pens and ink related stuff. So what's going to go in here are pens that I am going to look for at the next pen show, you know, pens that I want to get, ink that I want to get. Right now, this is the collection of ink that I have, and I separated it by brand. I wanted to catalog my ink. You know, I wanted to write down all the ink that I have in here. That way, I didn't accidentally double buy because I have quite a lot of ink, and I didn't want to accidentally get a duplicate bottle when I had already had a certain one. So that's why I wrote it down in here. That way I can consult that and say, okay, do I have that ink? Do I have that color? You know, and this needs to be updated because I actually got a few more bottles of ink that I need to update this and write that in. So the first page was diamine. This was like J or Bond. This is just, and again, like I said, I separated it by brand. Now, I don't have my samples in here. This is just my bottled ink. My samples are a whole different animal, which I do not have them in here. I have that elsewhere. So this is just my whole bottles of ink. And again, I used Filofax paper on this because I started this kind of a long time ago. And I just started using just the regular note paper for that. But I do have some Tomoe River paper in here. Excuse me. This next section is my wish list. This next section is going to be my wish list. And this is just, you know, things that I want to get, like planner related stuff, planner goodies, you know, just the categories of the different wish lists that I have. I'll probably start one for the coloring books I want to get. So this just kind of helps me keep track of things that I would like to own. And again, I have some Tomoe River paper in there. And my last section is just my notes. Now, for this one, I have pretty much just anything, miscellaneous, just anything like, oh, this is stuff on some music, you know, boy, what do I have in this section? Stuff for my writing group that I co-own, you know, just some different writing ideas, different music that inspired me for the different scenes and stuff. And again, I put some Tomoe River paper in there. I started out using the Filofax paper for the different lists, but again, I put Tomoe River paper in there to be able to use my fountain pens. And now again, this section is going to be for just like brain dump, anything. If I'm out at a meeting or something and if I got to make a quick note, I can do that in here in this section, and then I can file it away however I need to. So it's not, I don't have all that many dividers, and it's not, there's a fly leaf in the back here. And then I have, in this pocket here, I have a field notes. This is what I've been, and I haven't done this for quite a while, but this is what I have been keeping track of, what I've been reading by the month. You know, the books that I've been reading by the month. And I kind of got away from doing it in here for a while, but because I had this in my Filofax, I decided to go ahead and get back into it. So I'm going to keep this field notes book in this pocket to write down what I had just read for the different months. But you know, this is actually a pretty simple setup. It works for me. I don't have like financial stuff in here because we keep that elsewhere. This is just my personal planner that I use strictly just for me, myself, and I. And it's a pretty simple setup. It doesn't really have a whole lot of dividers. It's not really like super decked out like some people do, but you know, it works for me. And right now I think I found planner peace with how this is set up. So yeah, I'm really liking this. Now, I do tend to use an A5 and a personal size together. The A5 has some different stuff in there, and I'm still setting some things up in there because I wanted to, I'm redoing it to get it to be slightly different than what I have now. So once I get that all done, I will show that to you. And right now I am in my gold Kiki K for the large Kiki K for the A5 size, and which I will show that to you guys later. So anyway, I hope you guys liked my planner setup. As of August 20, well, actually as of late August, early September 2016. I hope you guys liked the setup, and share this video with share this video with anybody you think may be interested in it. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more planner goodies or hauls or anything like that. Hit the like button, leave us a comment, tell me what you think, and you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys all later. Bye, guys.